Then I'll call this special meeting of the Fort Lavaca City Council to order on this Monday, October 7th, 2024 at 5:31 p.m. Skip the usual formalities, and I will ask at this time if anyone is here that wishes to, from the public that wishes to speak to council, this is your time to step forward. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? Oscar, do you want to speak before council?
I didn't sign up because it was a special meeting.
Okay.
So,
You have a special person.
no, I didn't want to take any of the time. I have some issues, and as you can see, the reason I came is because most citizens don't come because they tend to fall on deaf ears. But I'm going to hold off on those other issues for now. Got something more important came up, and I've been hearing little buzzwords about the city's looking to sell the water system. The city's looking to sell the wastewater system. And you're trying to play. I don't know who's pushing it. I don't know who's against it, but you're playing the Pontius Pilate thing. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to have to tell the residents your water's going up because. So what you're doing is talk to them, talk to Undine for the water. You're paying more for water. We are too, over there. Believe it or not, you got a better contract than we did because our intent was to get off their water. Now, we got an offer to renew our contract at double what we're paying now. Okay, we went from paying $26,000 a month to $41,000 a month for water. And now they're talking about doubling. That's a private entity. Okay. Whatever cost you have associated with upkeeping your water and wastewater, the public is going to have to bear it anyway, whether it's your decision or a private company. Big difference is it's going to cost a lot less if you find the funds to get it done than if you sell it to somebody else and then they got to make a little money. Everybody's got to make a little money. And we're going to be the ones left holding the back. Okay. And so I intend to be here from now on and get a little more involved because, like I said, I've got some issues. My issues deal with operations and the way things are looking, the way things are going. I don't have an axe to grind with any one individual, none at all. Okay. I just don't like what I'm hearing about the city looking to sell, whether it's our water or wastewater. We're going to pay for it. The residents are going to pay for it. The only question is, are we going to pay what we need to pay, or are we going to pay what we need to pay plus a little more for somebody's pocket? Okay.
Let me ask you a question. How are y'all planning on getting off of Undine water?
We are building a reverse osmosis water system. And yeah, that, I'm sorry, I knew better than.
He can ask for information and discuss.
So I knew better, but I'm not going to correct him. He's on the council. I'm not.
He asked for information.
Okay, but that's my thing. These little buzzwords I've been hearing. I don't know how true they are, but if you are considering it, you need to look at it. You need to look what it's going to do to your personnel that you have now. It might be great. You might get rid of some people you don't want. That's not the right solution to the problem, you know, because you're still going to require people to run the water and the wastewater, except it'll be at their cost if you controlling the cost. You give up control of the systems, you give up control of the money. Oscar has. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? No one else here with staff, so we will move on to our regular agenda. End with agenda item number 1 to consider proposed submittal of proposal to Matagorda Bay Mitigation Trust in response To request for proposals.
RFPs, the responses to RFPs, the RTP that we're intending to submit next Monday. So I wanted to go, briefly go over all three of them with you, for any comments and get your approval for your submittal. The first one I want to go through, on the cover sheet says the project name is the RV Archimedes Research Vessel Floating Classroom. Tours at Chester Island during the first annual City to Lavaca Coast Bird Festival. This application is asking for $9,400 to go with towards the cost to rent one classroom vessel to take it out. There's a series of tours proposed. For participants that will pay registration fee and for some students that will not. And Tim McFarland is on his way.
He's here.
Okay. Oh, you good. Okay. So I'll let Tim kind of explain a little bit more about it. This one.
Good. So, hi, I'm Tim McFarland. I've been working with Mayor Jody and Anya and our steering committee, Steve Morowitz, and some others. So we've been really excited about bringing into Port Lavaca County a birding festival. I will tell you just briefly, I didn't start birding till a year and a half ago, and I cut down my work to 2 days a week. So my wife looked at me and thought, we better come up with a hobby that we both enjoy. Apparently something about killing each other if you have too much free time together. So we got into birding and we went to a festival in the Rio Grande Valley, which it turns out has been there over 30 years. And has an excellent birding community. They have 9 parks and organizations that coordinate together. They named themselves the World Birding Center. So I'd like to name us the other World Birding Center. But we, when I got to looking around, I thought, we've got almost all the same birds that they have. They have some shorebirds. They actually have to travel further than we would to see the same amount of birds that we have. They have a green jay that we don't have, and they have a chakalaca. But most of the other birds we will have, some of them will be migratory. So we've been working hard to put together a festival. We've got 20 sites that we're using. We have 20 professional tour guides, and we are about 95% of the way through what we call our website that can go live in probably the next 2 weeks. It will go live on a preview. The guides can look at it. Everyone can look at it that's related with the festival, make sure that they agree with what it says about their bio, where we're going, where to meet, what time, and then November 1st, we should go live with the website. I've seen a preliminary look at it for the first time yesterday and was just really excited. It looks great. I will comment, the thing that I passed out to you has just the basic information about the festival. It's kind of a save the date sort of concept. One of the birds, the one on your right that looks a little smaller, is American oyster catcher, and it does have a black head inside, so we're not going to use the black background. But other than that, at least it gives you the basic information of what the festival is. The festival, most cities and communities that we festival get some sponsorships. To be honest, it would cost $200 or more per individual to do a tour. And we're excited because we're pricing our tours between $15 for beginner birders and families. And we do have some higher price specialty tours for high-end photography and different things, but all of our tours are going to be $50. Cowan County is an unusual community in that it has 526 square feet and 540 miles. I'm sorry, 526 square miles of landmass and it has 540 linear miles of coastline. So we actually have more miles of coastline than square miles of property. So we're gonna be emphasizing our aquatic areas. We've got, out of the 20 tours, we have 5 of them that are via boat. One is the Archimedes, which I'm gonna talk to you about next. The next one is a tour out of Charlie's going towards Sea Drift, South Pass, those islands in there. The next one will be a high-end photography tour with Sissy Beasley. She lives in Rockport and has agreed to work with our festival. And she organizes photo wildlife competitions, seminars, and teaches. So it's just great that we've got her doing that. We have one tour that is going out of Lavaca Lighthouse, and we'll go down the beach towards Big Chocolate Bayou and Bay, and then go over to what some people call Snake Island. It's the island south of the old Alcoa. Go up, look at just under the causeway. We'll look at the new remediation marsh that's over Point Comfort, just across the causeway on the left as you're going east. Then we'll take a potty break at Point Comfort Dock, and then we'll go up to Lavaca River, Banal, Placido, and then come back down. So that will be one of the water tours. And then, so let's see, we've got, and then we've got a tour on Powderhorn Ranch, and it's not a water tour, but we have one with Texas Parks and Wildlife at Matagorda Island. And so we're going to use their boat, go over, and they have a truck that holds 8 people, and they'll go up and down the beach. There's several good birding spots there. So we're really excited about our aquatic tours. We have some other land tours, and I won't bore you with that, because the 2 applications that we're doing deal with our aquatic tours. One is the Archimedes, and I've got a PowerPoint I'm going to show you briefly, because even though it's not exactly related to what we're doing on the tour and what it costs, it is something that no one else can do except us in Cowan County. And that is talk about Chester Island and Chester Smith and the return of the brown pelicans. You can't hear about Chester Island in the Galveston Birding Festival, the Corpus Birding Festival, or the Rio Grande Birding Festivals. And those are the 3 big festivals on the coast of Texas before May 1st, 2025, when we get added to the mix. So how do I turn this? Or I can go like this. All right, so brown pelicans returned to Cowan County in 1972. DDT was banned. Sorry, I'm not raising my hand that many times.
No, you're good. It froze on me.
So we've got many shorebirds, and I didn't realize this, including brown pelicans. They lay their eggs right on the beach. And are in low shrubbery, just a foot or 2. Other gulls, terns, different animals will just come and eat them. And so they tend to have to take turns sitting on the eggs or being very near them to protect them. And so if boaters, big people and dogs on the beach and whatever running around and chasing these birds off of their nesting areas, if you call that a nest, they increase their chance of egg loss. And so they're high risk of destruction from heat, other birds, predators, snakes, and mammals. And oddly enough, I didn't know this until I started birding, that when they sit over the eggs, sometimes they're standing. They're actually keep putting the egg in shade. So chickens, you think, have to sit on an egg to keep it warm. Sometimes shorebirds have to stand over an egg just to keep it getting too hot. So it's kind of an unusual thing, and they can have a lot of egg destruction. Next. So in 1962, the port ship channel on the right lower corner, you can see the ship channel coming in. And then there's an island just inside it, and that is called Chester Island. It's just several acres. Fishermen call it Bird Island, and I have a fishing map from 1990 that calls it Bird Island. Technically, its real name is Sundown Island. And so in 1969, brown pelicans were almost extinct. We're down to 10 to 12 nesting pairs, I think in the world, but certainly in the state of Texas. And there were no brown pelicans in Cowan County. There were a few in Corpus. So DDT was banned in 1972. This is Chester Smith actually holding a pelican egg that's so thin, it's the eggs cracks before the chicks are anywhere near ready to hatch. And that was the demise with the DDT. It was banned in 1972. And so Audubon, Texas manages all the rookery islands in the state of Texas. There's 112 now. In 1970, they asked Puerto Rico resident Chester Smith to be the first manager or warden of Sundown Island. So he worked to make sure that the island was home for birds. He built low structures for them to roost. And then he also did something different. And if you read on things and look on the internet, you don't see a few things that I'm about to tell you. And I didn't realize why until I asked his daughter, who I know. And he built a fence coop, and he went to Corpus and he got a male and female chick and brought them there. And I said, you know, why didn't it ever publicize? He goes, well, it was illegal. So he's passed away, so now we can talk about it. Next. So he went to Corpus and he got some a male and female chick. Every morning he went to the island, cast net for bait, and fed the chicks until they were old enough to fly. So amazing dedication of Chester Smith. Next. So he loved educating people about the importance of, those are called rookery islands. That's islands that birds can live on, hatch, and raise their young. And he would tell the story of the brown pelican to children and adults. Now we have over 2,000 brown pelicans. And in some ways, every brown pelican in Cowan County can be because of the concern and work of one man, Chester Smith. Next. And in his honor, the island was renamed Chester Island. We now have actually over 22 species of birds we counted this past spring, and there's over 22,000 birds on Chester Island. Many of them are pelicans. So it's an amazing story. Next. That's on the left is what is a pelican nest egg. That's a royal tern with a little big chick walk down that aisle. Does it? How the colonies just nest up real tight, protect each other from invaders. That's a reddish egret at the bottom right, and an albino reddish egret, which they have several. I don't know that they're technically an albino. I don't know the genetics, but they call them a white reddish egret, which the names don't make sense. Next. So Audubon still manages Chester Island. That's Peggy on the right. Her husband, Tim Wilkerson, is the warden, now taking after his father-in-law, and he is the warden of the island. So, next. And then Audubon, Texas has recommendations about how to protect rookery islands, beaches, and islands. So that's one thing that we're going to do with the Archimedes is we're going to take people to Port O'Connor, go to Texas Parks and Wildlife. They have a conference room. Talk to them about Chester Island, maybe not as fast as I just did. Talk to them about birding, how to use binoculars, how to focus them. Talk to them about basics of identifying birds, how to use different books or laminates for birds in the area. And then they'll load the Archimedes, which is called the Texas Floating Cat Classroom, if you want to look it up. And Captain Whitney and her husband will take this group, weather permitting, over to the island. And we'll anchor so as not to disturb the birds. We'll anchor 50 to 100 feet off, and they can take pictures, and we'll have 2 guides. All of our guides trips are set up with a guide for every 10 people. The Archimedes will hold 20. It has a top deck and a lower deck. So it's going to be one of the very few that will have more than 10 people on it available on tour at a time. And it will have 20. And then they'll come back. And so hopefully they'll learn a lot about Cowan County, a lot about estuaries, a lot about waterways, a lot about rookery islands, and birding as well. So we're really excited. We're going to run that tour Friday, Saturday, Sunday mornings, Friday evening for the festival, and then Monday, the 5th, May 5th, 2025, the aquatics class. There's 2 of them. One of them will go in the morning and one of them will go in the afternoon. So they'll be
At high school.
high school. So that's 47 high school students in the aquatics advanced science class that will get to hear that talk, learn about birding, and go tour the island. The other will be the 120 participants at 80 participants from the festival And so if you do the math, it's, I wrote down somewhere 127 will get to go here and learn about Chester Island and birding. So we have applied to the Texas Mitigation Fund with a grant, Amy Boone, because the students are not going to get charged at all. Amy Boone works for the school district, and so she helped us get it started. I did some wordsmithing on it, crafted it, gave it to Jody, and she added some things that are related to y'all's tax ID, number of different things. And so that's going to be the first grant that I think is in front of you that we will be asking for. Yeah. Any questions about that grant or what we're doing? Want to do with it? Right.
You wanna go ahead and explain the second one?
So the second one is, as I mentioned, we have a lot of waterways. We're gonna have 4 other tours that use water. One is Billy, and I am gonna butcher his last name. It's
Bruce Brown.
Thank you. Oh, there you go. Hi, Kenny. So he's gonna, he is a birder and a fishing guide. So he has all the boats we'll be using will be fishing guide captains with insurance on them and their boats. So we're gonna use their captain's license insurance. Billy is not just a fishing guide and can use his boat, and it's gonna let us use his boat for fishing tour. He's a guide. So we'll meet at the Bauer Center and take a van of 6 people to Charlie's Dock. If you know where that is on the intercoastal going west from Port O'Connor. And I fished out that area and I've seen 20 boats at Spoonbills. The last several times I've been, about half a mile away, you've got all your shorebirds. It's just amazing. So he's gonna go down, turn and go north towards Seadrift. Look at some areas, maybe go up towards Hind Bay and the Guadalupe Mount. And then he's gonna go across the little, looking at the little rookery islands and little fishing islands going south until he hits like South Pass area on the Matagorda Island. And then we'll come back probably through Steamboat. I don't know if he's gonna take Shoalwater. And so that's gonna be his morning tour. And I expect that he will see a lot of things. I did go to a birding festival just about a month ago in Rockport in the Hummingbird Festival, but they do some other tours. And so oddly enough, all the people from north of here, they love the birds. They were most excited about the 3 dolphins we saw. So we'll probably see dolphins on that tour as well. And so we're gonna put it in that you can probably see dolphins. The other boating tour that we're asking for funds from the Texas Mitigation Trust is going to be putting in, as I mentioned, Lighthouse Beach and touring Lavaca Bay. The other one will be with the photography, putting in a chocolate bio and going up the bio and taking pictures and high-end photography. So she won't be looking for what we call high bird counts. She won't be looking for 30 birds, 100 birds. She'll just be looking for a few birds that they can wait, and she can explain how to take photographs and do what she does with photography.
And these are the ones that the fee is $50.
Yes,
That's what we
I think-
estimated, 3,200 of fees with a total budget of 10,500. But we need $6,850. So we're at-
yeah. So did I miss one of the tours? Yeah, I don't think I did. Which one?
You hit all the best.
Okay. Hit all the boats, because the Archimedes is in its own grant application. So this one, we're asking for $50. You can see if you tell, okay, we're gonna put in from our collections for the fees for the individuals paying for their tours. Compared to what the whole tour costs. Getting a boat and a captain, plus what you do for a walking tour is just much more expensive. And without some sponsorships, those tours become prohibitive and will not be available to the general public, but just to a very few people who are very interested and wealthy. And so we'd like to make it more available to and from even out of state. There are people who that is their joy in life during their retirement years, is going from bird festival to bird festival. So, that's what that second application is, and that's why you'll see there's a larger reduction than the $10,000 is the total price. We're gonna pick up more because we're gonna sell those for a higher dollar value. So those are the two applications in front of you. Any questions about what they are for or why?
Are the people gonna bring their own drinks and eat and stuff, or?
So our tours, this is a little crazy. You can tell who's an expert birder that's been doing it a long time. They're ready to go birding at 5:30 in the morning, and it doesn't matter if it's raining cats and dogs. You can tell people who are more like me, you know, if it starts at 7, that's really good, and if it's raining, I'm gonna just stay inside. So our tours are set up to go between 5:30, some start at 6, some start at 7, and then the beginner tours start at 8. And to be done mostly by noon. I've also planned in that there will be a potty break at every 2 hours so that people don't have to visit our woods looking for birds all by themselves. So we will have water available and Gatorade on each of the tours. People will be invited to bring their own backpacks, their own binoculars, their own snacks. But we aren't expecting that they will be doing a lunch or anything else as part of the tour. Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay. Anything else?
I have a question on the festival in general, the bird festival. Is it self-funded? Is the festival self-funding? Is it all, or the city going to be putting some money into it?
So Jody, you want to answer that?
We have 20,000 budgeted in hotel motel, and the rest will be made up through registration and sponsorship. And we've got pretty good sponsorship package. We're just waiting for the website to go live so he can go out and hit it. He's been working really, really hard on this thing. Him and both Steve Marwitz and Tim have worked so hard on this festival to line it all out.
And so to further, I didn't want to say exactly what the city, I mean, I've got Jody here to do that, but so we have 20,000, I call it seed money. If we can get this $16,000, we already have 2 companies that have committed 2,500. And then we have another company that's committed $3,000. If, to be honest, if we do a really nice festival with 20 tours and 20 guides, the other things that we're planning, we're doing 16 30 to 45 minute educational talks about bird migration at night, the estuaries, how they work. We've got beginning birdings, plants, how to make your backyard into a bird attracting mini sanctuary. So we've got 16 educational talks that are available that will be, if we can get our sponsorship, which I think we have committed, those will be free to the public. So there's a lot that goes in it. We expect that we will collect $50,000 in fees and registration. And we expect that we will spend about $100,000. So you can see if we can get 20 and we can get 10 and we get 60. I really think that we can put on a high-end festival, and I won't say that it will be something the city will be making lots of money on, but I do think that it will cover itself beyond what the city has committed.
Okay, well, I can tell you about the third application we got, which I mentioned to council generally.
So Jody, I hate to be rude. I've got families from out of town. I'm fixing them fried fish and shrimp, so I'm gonna go. Okay. Thank y'all. You don't want to.
The third application is to, ask for $100, Medical Indemnity Enrichment Trust to purchase the waterfront property on Lavaca Bay, which is on the kitchen property, corner of South Street, for conservation purposes and to be able to provide a new public access point for Lavaca Bay. The application before you, I am still wordsmithing this, but I can tell you that I have the We have been in touch with the kitchens. They're willing to sell it for $250,000. I've been talking to a coastal engineer, and they're estimating the cost for data collection, preliminary engineering to get an Army Corps permit to apply for a permit for a shoreline protection project would be in a neighborhood of $225. We're looking at something maybe very similar to what's going on in down the Crowding Beach and that Magnolia Beach. A project similar to that, which would be a couple of rock groins that could be built where similar to what we've got at Lighthouse Beach, where people can get out on the groin and fish from that respect. So, and then I put in here, you know, this extra $50,000 just for some minimal clearing, very minimal clearing to ultimately provide a more parking area and some trails, signage. And so we're asking for $480,000 for this. There in your packet is a drawing to illustrate what I'm talking about. The property, the boundary of the property is in red. Again, it's the corner of South Law Loop and South Street. It's roughly currently right now about 1.7 acres. On the books, it's like 2.4, but it's eroded a lot. You can see I've shown where the approximate shoreline was in 1990. So you can see how much it's eroded since then. You can see where the end of the 1922 concrete seawall is. And because that's where that ends, then, you know, that's where you always get erosion right behind, you know, the end of a sturdy seawall or bulkhead. Again, this little parking area is in there just for scale purposes. I'm showing where the approximate bluff line is. I've talked to several people and I've talked to the neighboring properties, and the property next door thinks this is a great idea. I talked to the lady that owns the house right next to the extension of South Street. Her only concern was, you know, it would generate maybe too much traffic in the area. I did talk to RJ Shelley, marine extension agent, just asking him, you know, is this something that's gonna be like a special fishing spot that's more popular than any other fishing spot that we might be concerned with too many people coming? And he said, no, we do not think so. Fishing wouldn't be any different than any place else in town. Again, if it's a public park, we wouldn't allow alcohol, so that wouldn't be a concern. And so, you know, we would ultimately have parking on site, because yeah, we wouldn't want to have something where we would have to be parking out in the street or anything like that. Again, the sequence, what we've applied for in the grant would just be to purchase the property and get the preliminary engineering and the ultimately get the Army Corps permit submitted. Then with that information, then we would need to seek grant funds elsewhere. I did today, in fact, just right before we met, Josh Carter, who we were working with some of our other shoreline protection projects, he kind of gave me just a real rough idea of the cost for projects similar to what they're doing at having bridge at Magnolia Beach. And so we could, you know, ultimately looking at a project, you know, potentially, you know, $2 million, including engineering. Yes, which is not something, you know, we're not supposed to do ourselves, but we would look at Kepler grant funds, Park and Wildlife, whatever, to fund this. The idea would be to get it into the public domain to where we have opportunities to use state and federal grant dollars to protect it from erosion and to provide another public access to rock bay. So, you know, I've had a lot of people think this is a great idea, like I said, all I can do is say no, they don't like it, although, I mean, in their list of qualifying things or projects that they're asking for, or what's eligible, or land acquisition for conservation purposes and an increased access to, public access to the bay. So this meets both of those, so, and right now, we would, you know, if we were to get, if we were successful with the grant, the intent is that to sign a letter of intent with the kitchens, and they've allowed us until February 5th to decide whether to move forward. We would know by the middle of January whether we get this or not. So if we get it, then at that time, we would sign a contract with them, we can put down $5,000 of earnest money. They would give us 90 days to do additional due diligence, make sure this is what we want to do. And then close on the property, and then we would proceed to hire the engineer and get the preliminary work and get a permit application done.
That's your permit applications for what?
That would be for a shoreline protection project. To protect this shoreline from further erosion. So it'd be, you know, what the concept that he's got right here, as I understand it, I believe he didn't send a sketch along with it, but I think after looking at the Crabbing Bridge, I met with David Hall last week, and he showed me the Crabbing Bridge project. So I think what they're talking about is potentially putting a groin somewhere on the north end and another one at the south end, to where it would build the sand up between the two. Or, you know, what I was thinking, you know, is maybe putting, and of course, I'm not a coastal engineer, so that's why we hire coastal engineers, so they can do studies and figure out what the optimal use of the property and what would best work. But one idea I also had was, you know, maybe just bringing a single, you know, breakwater down here to protect the shoreline with putting a marsh or something. So there's different options, and we're not saying right now we want to do one thing or the other, but whatever we would do, we would hope to be also incorporate into design to where people could get out on the breakwater and fish as well, and not just have it just strictly for protection purposes. Now, and so to understand, this is a very large bluff. It's like goes from 18 feet down to maybe 3 to 4, pretty sharp incline. So part of that and protecting that shoreline would be cutting that back a little bit and putting native plants to help protect that shoreline along there. It's not something that you're going to be able to walk from this level straight down the beach. You can do that, you know, and I'm envisioning you'd have a trail that would go down, you know, the right of way of South Street, get down to this lower level, and then be able to walk and get down at the beach level. You'd be able to walk cleaning up that area behind the old seawall. If it's still there, it's still functioning. Part of that you can get to, but then part of the grass is so high, and some of the land has eroded away from behind that seawall. Get that all nice with grass or, you know, grass planted. I think it could ultimately be a really nice project. It's just with this grant, we're not really doing anything yet, except we're buying the property and putting things in motion that we can do it. So that's depends on whether that's good enough for the trust.
Would this be, open like 24 hours, or would it be?
It would be a public park that we close at 11.
Oh, yeah.
This is, since this is not like a pier or anything, I wouldn't think we would, again, those kind of decisions would be made at a later date. But from what I'm envisioning, this would be dedicated as a public park, and that's one of the things I put in the application, because they want to know, well, the longevity, how long is this gonna be good for? And if in fact we dedicate this as a public park, then it it can't be used for anything other than that unless we take it back to voters. Voters would have to-
Require lighting and.
Yeah, we would have some lighting.
and Stuff like that.
I don't think this park would be so small, I don't think we would need to have restrooms, something we could look at some point. Because we would have sewer down there, but at this point, it would just be, it's not something that, you're encouraging people to stay there for an extended period of time.
So you said, I'm sorry.
What about the manpower, the upkeep? Is it that-
I mean, it would be added to our parks. Our parks schedule.
there are no people to do that?
It's, it's,
I would have to contract for that. I would have to do a couple of the other parts.
and again, this one, we're gonna keep it in a native state. There's not gonna be a whole lot we gotta know. There may be a little bit of upkeep along the seawall, but for the most part, we're gonna keep it in its native state. There's gonna be trees in there with some trails through the trees. I'm not gonna go in there and bulldoze all this stuff down. The area where we do the type of parking, we would have impervious pavers. I'm not gonna asphalt anything or concrete anything. The idea is we're not gonna do anything that's gonna increase the runoff off of this site. We wanna preserve it in its natural state.
So how many acres is that? 1.7.
I'm estimating it's 1.7. I mean,
How much was for erosion? How many?
it was 2.42, I think, on the books. And you can see it was, back in 1990.
Almost lost 3/4 of an acre.
Historical commission to look into that and see if that was, I'm pretty sure that may have been the site of the second Confederate battery.
I don't know. I mean, I have reached out to several people asking for some historical
One
information.
was at Nautical Landings area and the other one was around Black Rock, the two Confederate batteries that fought off the Indian invasion in 1862.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure, yeah, that, again, like I said, I'm still wordsmithing this, I wasn't sure if historical significance gave us any brownie points with.
I mentioned that real quick, to see if they would give me a location, but it didn't, but it did show me the flag that was flying at the batteries here. For some reason, they have a picture of it. On our 50th anniversary, we flew the regular Confederate battle flag. A little flag
But,
over that.
these are due by 5 p.m. next Monday, so I will probably, I'll still be tweaking. The first two are pretty well done, for the most part. This one, I'm still kind of wordsmithing it and anticipate submitting all three of them, quite honestly, by next Sunday.
Oh, that
Is that
seawall,
okay?
the portion of the seawall that's left, that's a very valuable. So that 242,000, is that amount of land on the water? I think that's a good buy. It's got historical value. It's
Well, that's double check. The battery was either located, I'm pretty sure it was located there. It said it was right across from government. The other side of the building.
So Jody, I like the idea of the grant, but is there anything within the property that we already own that we can submit to this grant for, shoreline restoration or preservation or whatever?
All we have, I mean, we own the protection of South Street.
No, I mean, just like within the city, I mean, we have all that waterfront, from Scully's all the way to the Bayfront Peninsula. I mean, is there any possibility of approaching this litigation trust for projects there?
Well, I mean, we could, yeah, ultimately, again, we're limited to $500,000. So, it probably would do by the engineering for the walkway cost.
That would be a lot more use. But, not associated with this.
But I mean, I don't know how much longer this is gonna be around, but as far as that goes, I mean, I do urban engineering, I've been talking to them, I think, like, $8,000. They can put together the permit application for the walkway that we've been talking about from the Veterans Memorial to the Scullies. We kind of held off on doing that until we get the permit for our big break. Because I didn't want, the Corps they get two things at the same time. I didn't want another application that comes in and stalls them on this one. Let them finish this one and then I'll send them to go. Since I don't have any funding for that yet anyway. So, but that's, as soon as we get, my plan is as soon as we get either a warm fuzzy that it's coming. Then I'll get, we'll put that in. We'll put that in, as we now know where the moisture is gonna go, where the marsh lane's gonna go, that's already put in. Once the Corps says this is good, then we can come back in and say, okay, now when this is done, we want to put in water. Actually, yeah, perhaps I've been updating the Port Commission, but I can get that to you guys copies, yes.
This one, motions,
Yeah. Approve these for submittal.
motion to approve the three submittals.
We have a motion and second to approve, to Matagorda Bay mitigation trust. As completed, all in favor say aye. Aye. Both same sign. All right. I will announce this time, the council will retire to closed session for consultation with our attorney on matters. It was the duty of the attorney to the city council to take the disciplinary rules. Meeting back. And to deliberate on certain exchange needs or any. In accordance with this time, I would like to ask everyone, not knowing how long admission from council to the Wayne statement, is that all right? Sure. Yeah, information. Everybody else.